I think one of the great allures of the computer is the concept of video game supremacy. And what I mean is the idea that it is possible to study video games in some way, and then to incorporate aspects of that study into a video game itself. In other words, to alter the psychological importance or intention of the study in order to turn the product of study into a video game, and therefore raw data for study itself. And the thinking here is that adrenaline in particular is used in two different ways. The adrenaline of study is of a different type than the adrenaline of the game world, of the suspended disbelief of the art. And in particular, the suspended disbelief of the art, the virtual game world, is an aspect of appreciation. It is an aspect of having a complete life. It is an aspect of, it is a status symbol. It is a scratching post for criticism. It is an entry into the art world. So the thinking here is that the video game is this very crude, unrefined, harsh, toxic art, and that it's much closer to the art of the neurochemist, the hostile neurochemist, who is creating chemicals for profit by getting people to use them as drugs and getting them addicted to the lifestyle of indulgence in intoxication, the intoxication dealer. I think it's important to draw your attention to the Opium Wars and the reason why those wars were fought, and that was to give foreigners, from the point of view of China, the right to sell addictive drugs to Chinese citizens. So just as we are studying these addictive drugs, we are also, called video games, we are also producing these addictive drugs called video games. And the thinking here is that video game supremacy is the suppression of sort of the natural moral instinct to think that this is wrong, and indulgence in the creation of the narcotic, the poison-making persona, the alchemist identity is assumed in order to overcome a power gap. That is to say, in order to sort of jump or leap, in order to do something or transform oneself in a way that enables things that were not possible before. And that is the creation of somehow a supreme video game. That is to say, understanding what that would be. And that would be an incorporation of essentially taking a snapshot of the relation between the study of video games and video games. So as above, above being the study of video games, below being the video games. Uh, as above, so below, as below, so above. Um, the thinking here being that what we really want to do is treat the exploration of mathematical truth as a video game experience, as an immersive video game experience in which the objective is finding truth and knowing truth. And this is done through um, preparing content for uh, uh, preparing derivations, rather. Preparing derivations and then submitting them to an automatic algorithm that checks the derivation. So it's just a derivation checker. It just makes sure you haven't made any mistakes in your derivations. I like the initials DC because that alludes to a desk calculator, the simple 4-operation calculator that is, or at least used to be common, I think it still is, for arithmetic operations. A desk calculator is precisely what I have in mind as this supreme video game. And what does it calculate? It calculates derivations. These are derivations of truth. We simply use the computer to verify a line. It's almost always a chain, as mathematics is typically constructed, of reasoning, of theorems that build on each other and use each other. And these theorems can be verified formally by computer. And the question is, how is it possible to do this? And the answer, well, first of all, the question is, how is it possible to do this? Well, you have to want to do it. You have to want to have sort of the satisfaction of having encoded this sort of internal verification process that all mathematicians do, that makes use of mathematical intuition. And the desire is to turn that into a formal reduction. That is to say, to formally reduce some part of mathematics, or parts of mathematics, or if you like, a subset of mathematics. And the thinking here is that we will arrive that the computer is going to then be the check. It's going to be the assistant that verifies that we have in fact carried out this formalization correctly. But that's all that it will do. I think, you know, there is this question of, you know, how do you translate informal mathematics to formal mathematics? That's, you know, that's a very that's a question of parsing, and it actually sort of the foundation for studying that, I think, formed in the 20th century, and it did not exist prior to the 20th century. This is the sort of the silent, you know, creation, the silent act of creation that is not really gone unnoticed. I think text processing, sentiment analysis have all made people aware of you know, the state of the art.